Yeah, still making the news is Ilkay Gundogan. Definitely, he's a very wonderful one, and his move to Arsenal could definitely mean quite a lot. Hello, everyone, and thank you for being part of the Arsenal chapter. And make it a point, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that you do not miss it on whatever I've definitely got to bring to you, as long as it is sports and as long as it is Arsenal related. Right by here at the Arsenal chapter with me, your host Abu Kaz, as we definitely talk sports and as we're talking about whatever is happening in the camp of Arsenal, we definitely know that things have not been going on quite. They didn't go on quite well for the club Arsenal towards the end of the season. But putting it on a whole, putting to comparison how the season started, now things have been going. Definitely, I think we should consider. I think we should consider Arsenal as a successful club this season. They are the last concluded season because the fact that Arsenal ended up in the second position and they almost took the title, the Premier League title. Just a few things were lacking, and that's why things went the way they went, ending up in the second position. But at least Champions League football is definitely Champions League football is we can count that Arsenal is going to have Champions League football. So, looking at a few things, first of all, when you look at the fact that Man City is on top of the table and Arsenal is second, okay, you definitely can tell that one of the best football players right about now that Man City has. Manchester City's best football player, one of them, okay, if you're counting three, okay, top three. Ilkay Gundogan is definitely in there. So, Ilkay Gundogan is a free transfer. He's a free agent, he's a free agent, and that definitely, you can tell that him being a free agent, there are things that the club is going to consider, but also him as a football player, he definitely has a bigger say. He's got a much bigger say than when he's not a free agent. A free agent decides where he's going. The club won't decide for him. However, when you're not a free agent, because the club has invested a lot of money in you, you've got limited say. So the clubs that have already approached Man City. Also, before even going there, we need to see how good this gentleman is. If you watch the Manchester City game against Manchester United that ended 2-1, Ilkay Gundogan was definitely he was my man of the match, I must say. He scored both goals, and all these two goals were definitely very beautiful. He had a very good game. He was definitely on point in what he was doing. So putting in consideration that he's definitely one to have. He's definitely one that any club would definitely love to have. I think Arsenal has to act very fast, make sure they make this deal, swap very fast, act quickly, because Inter Milan has already said they need him, and apart from Inter Milan, Barcelona also came out and said they need Ilkay Gundogan, and now you can definitely tell why quite a big number of clubs are interested in Ilkay Gundogan. He's definitely a big football player at the moment, very talented. So Arsenal has already had talks with Ilkay Gundogan about his transfer, about his him moving to the club Arsenal, and he said that Arsenal management had a few words, had a talk with Ilkay Gundogan's agents, and definitely things did not go bad. Things went on quite well. So the thing is, we're not 100% sure. We're not in any way 100% sure that he's going to come to Arsenal. That's the reality. But because there is quite a lot of competition for him, and his market value, and also how much is Arsenal going to be paying Ilkay Gundogan, that's also something that we need to see and also tackle, because Arsenal is not a club that pays quite a lot of money to football players, Not, they pay well, Arsenal pay well, but they do not pay stupid money. So I think it's gonna be a bit tricky for the club Arsenal, but they'll have the run anyway. Because I was talking to someone and it was like, we did not know that. We had no idea whatsoever that Gabriel Jesus and Alexander Zinchenko would move from Manchester City to Arsenal. But the deal was it was a very good one, and you can see the impact they've had in the club. But what I also want you to understand is, Arsenal is not in that position it was before he bought Gabriel Jesus and Alexander Zinchenko. So the thing is, Ilkay Gundogan is a free agent. Man City do not have a say about him, because he's a free agent. He can go anywhere he wants. It's about the club convincing him. We also need to put in consideration that despite all that's going on, the fact that he's at Manchester City and playing for Manchester City is in a better position of convincing him, because they have him all the time. They are playing quite well, and they are playing with him, training with him. Pep is talking to him all the time. So there is a possibility that also Ilkay Gundogan could possibly remain at Manchester City, but he's a free agent. That puts the percentage quite low. So, but the fact that Mikel Arteta has been looking for a midfielder, I think the fact that Arteta has been looking for a good midfielder, and right about now Ilkay Gundogan is in the picture as a free agent, I think Arsenal should give him the amount of money that he needs, because when you see almost all the football players that have been linked to the club, you can definitely tell that all those football players that have been linked to the club, you can for sure tell that Ilkay Gundogan is much better than them. Arsenal's main target this time round is getting a midfielder, and then the rest will come. And Josh and Stan Karionke, the owners of the club Arsenal, came out and said, because of the wonderful performance, because of the good performance that Mikel Arteta showed or put up, They're going to be adding him quite a bit more money. They're going to give him enough money as long as FFP rolls. As long as it's within the FFP rules, they want to inject in quite a lot of money, and that's quite good. That's really nice, I must say. That's definitely very good for Josh Karionke and Stan Karionke to say so. So we could see Arsenal having the amount of money, but remember that Arsenal is not going to go for very expensive players. I know, like. First of all, like Declan Rice, the fact that Arsenal put in a bid for Declan Rice at £92 million, that shows you how and to what extent Arsenal is willing, to what extent Arsenal is willing to invest this time round. Because the last time Arsenal's record transfer was Nicolas Pepe, which was £72 million, and you can see they are ready to go a mile and add £20 million from £72 million for Nicolas Pepe to £92 million, which they offered Declan Rice, who is a very good one. I must say Declan Rice is a good football player. So I think he's gonna be a very good one. He's going to be a very good football player in case he's signed. Let's hope that the transfer will definitely go on quite well, as Arsenal is already in talks with Ilkay Gundogan and also Ilkay Gundogan's agent. You will be remembered that Mikel Arteta's time at Manchester City, he had quite a good relationship with Ilkay Gundogan, so that's why quite a big number of people are saying that it will not be very complicated for Ilkay Gundogan to move over from Manchester City to Arsenal, but it will be a big thorn in the flesh, because if Arsenal can get Ilkay Gundogan and which else football player, I don't know which other football player that Arsenal could get Ilkay Gundogan, but I think the striking section is somewhere okay. But Arsenal has been linked to quite a big number of football players like Yori Tielemans, Declan Rice, as I already said. There is James Maddison. But almost all these football players that have been linked to the club Arsenal are midfielders, if you know what I mean. So let's wait and see how all this will definitely go. But Ilkay Gundogan, I think, according to me, is the perfect man for the job. He's a very good football player. I know he's around 32 years of age, and you're not going to depend on him for a very long period of time. But again, results are needed. Arsenal already has young football players, and now what they should be looking at is experienced football players, and players like Jorginho. You've seen how Jorginho has changed the game at Arsenal because he's experienced. The young football players are talented, but they lack experience, if you can understand what I mean. They are talented, they are good, they're nice football players, but they're extremely okay, but they lack experience. And when you've got football players in a club like you've got a football player like Ilkay Gundogan in Arsenal, definitely that will be a solved problem. So as we are seeing Arsenal trying its level best to make sure they can get this change to that, let's also see what limitations are there. Or I think we've already tackled the limitations. The fact that he's already at a rival club, he's already at he's in Manchester City. He's at Manchester City, playing for Manchester City, which is number 1 in the league. And this time round, I think Pep really saw all he thought about it and said, "Oh, I made a big mistake," So by selling Gabriel Jesus and Alexander Zinchenko to to Arsenal. So though this time he cannot sell, he's got an option to sell because Ilkay Gundogan is an agent, but he can talk him through. I think Pep Guardiola would rather let Ilkay Gundogan go to Inter Milan or Barcelona than go to Arsenal, where it is direct competition. So I think that Arsenal have quite a big job to do to make sure they can secure this gentleman. But from internal sources, we're told everything is okay, everything is going at the pace they want it, and once it is a deal that is going to be signed, deals signed, completed and sealed, we will be letting you know everything straight as it comes in. Otherwise, thank you for being part of the Arsenal chapter, and make your point subscribe and ring that notification bell so you do not miss it whatever of the sport brings you, as long as it is sports and as long as it is Arsenal related. Right about here at the Arsenal chapter with me, your host Abu Kazi. Thank you and goodbye for now.